You're listening to episode 12 of the Women's Fitness Podcast with Kelly Bakewell PT and Iszi Lawrence. The information in this podcast should not be taken instead of medical advice. We are not doctors, just passionate about fitness, progress and feeling good. You can find out more about us at womensfitnesspodcast.com, but for now, time for some real talk about the mess, stress and silliness that will get you achieving your goals. Not just positivity, every positive. Hello.
Positivity.
That is what this week's podcast is going to be about, being positive.
Yeah, so we kind of just thought we'd do one whole podcast that you can listen to when you're feeling a bit down, lacking motivation, general life issues are getting on top of you.
Yeah.
Especially with women in positivity. We're really hard on ourselves.
Yes, I think so. I don't know what men think, because every time you ask them what they think, it's usually like immediate, I've got a sore leg.
Oh, I need food.
Yeah, food is generally, she's pretty. That's about it.
They live in the moment, very much so.
They're very, but then again you have men who seem very deep and spiritual, and I don't really understand.
It's an act, I'm putting that on.
Okay.
I was saying this to one of my clients the other day. Hi Janice, I know she listens.
Hey, hello Janice.
And I had a run-in, shall we say, with someone who works at an unnamed charity shop who took my telephone number from a raffle ticket that I had entered and then texted me, even though I told him I had a boyfriend.
I think you should definitely call the police.
Yeah, so he was saying, oh, I want to be friends, and I was saying to Janice, I was like, you can't be friends with a man, and she went, yeah, you can, I've got male friends. I went, are they gay? She went, oh yeah. I went, it's either people you're friends with from school, work friends, gay friends, or that's it, isn't it? Or friends of your other half.
I suppose. I mean, I've got a few male friends. I haven't slept with all of them. But no, my thing. I'm friends with ex-boyfriends, which is kind of weird. But I'm also like, my best friend is a guy called Andy who I went to school with. So that's fair enough. But then my friend Simon, I met when I was at university.
That still kind of counts.
Okay.
Because generally, if a guy wants to be friends with you, and like she was saying, she went, oh yeah, I've got this friend, and we were sitting over, we went out for food, and then he started going, so we get on really well, and she had to go, yeah, I don't ever want a boyfriend, don't like boyfriends are rubbish, and she just like threw that in. Because it's like, there's an angle there, I think.
I think
definitely.
That is true. Some of my male friends in the past have got drunk and gone, do you wanna? And I've gone, no. And sometimes, yeah.
I mean, it is kind of angling. So, I've forgotten what the point of that was.
I have no idea other than the fact
about men just thinking about
sex
in the moment stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. They must have plans and ambitions and that sort of thing.
And hopes and dreams.
They achieve quite a lot, bless them.
That's just pure, like, stubborn, like bulls.
Yeah.
Pure stubbornness. Throw enough stubborn at it and it'll work.
Yeah, I think I quite like trying to teach very linear men how to think laterally. It's very fun.
Well, it's the whole mansplaining thing. That is hilarious. Like, the amount of times you get mansplained to.
Oh no, I did today. I said that somebody put up a thing saying why aren't there any mum jokes, and I put underneath, as a female comedian, women aren't funny. And then I got explained to by a man that actually women are very funny.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Good.
And then a mate of mine just wrote underneath, yeah, but Iszi isn't.
Did you slow clap?
What?
Like slow clap? Like
yeah.
Golf clap, yeah.
I would have done had it not been on Facebook. And
just write slow clap, that's it.
Okay, not head desk. Because that's like a slow clap. But
head desk, yeah. That's banging head desk.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, we live in an imperfect world.
Yeah, and I think there's so many modern illnesses coming up now. Like, so many more people have anxiety, depression, just that feeling of just being lost. And especially, I think, for me as well, and I've only just recently gotten over this, is that thinking that you haven't got to an adult yet. So there's something wrong with you, because when you look at other people, they seem to be adulting quite well. And you're like, well, I still think like really childish things in my head. Am I just not an adult yet? Are they more adulting than me?
Well, you see, the thing is, I know where you're going with this conversation, but in your case, no, you're not adulting.
No, this is true, because I do have 4 bananas in my porridge. But it's like pitting yourself against other people and thinking that they're just better humans than you and they're doing better at being adults, and then secretly they're not.
No, I mean, but it's not even that they're not. It's just that, would you really want to be them?
Oh yeah, and it's the fact that there isn't that level of adulting that you think that they're at, because they're probably looking at you and thinking exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
So we're always trying to push ourselves to be everything, which I'm very guilty of doing right now myself, trying to do 2 courses, work every single day, see all of the clients while having fibro and this gallbladder thing. So I'm blatantly not listening to my own advice, but you guys should.
I'm similarly, I've got, I'm currently producing and making 4 podcasts, this being just one of them. If you're into your history, listen to the others, and if you're into your silly opposite conversations, listen to Seti Soppo. But, and I'm doing, I'm trying to organise for next year, I'm doing a special advent calendar for one of my history podcasts, which is taking up way too much time, and I'm editing other podcasts, and I'm doing gigs, and I'm doing I'll just come down and do that TV pilot, that's fine, and talk to women in pornography. I don't see why that would be weird, and just time just goes
yeah,
to
and
nothing.
then you don't have that time for yourself, and that's where we're having problems. So we're putting so much pressure on ourselves, and then we've got no time to reflect. So you can't sit and think, am I going the right way? Is this the right decision? And people are in jobs they hate.
Mm-hmm.
Because they think that they're invested in that job and they're too old. I have changed jobs 7 times, maybe, since I was younger.
Wow.
Because I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I just had to go at everything.
But this is the thing, lots of people can't, they're very nervous about any change.
Yeah, I know.
So.
But then they stay in this job where they basically just wake up, eat, work, sleep, repeat.
Yeah.
And there's none of that time, and you feel guilty for taking time, especially with, noticed on the podcast, Sonia saying that one of the things she accomplished this week was having time without the kids.
Yeah.
And then just that time to yourself, that should be definitely more of a factor. So, for example, Sophie sent me a message, because I train Sophie. Hi Sophie. She sent me a message saying that she really likes going to the gym, finds it so hard to get the energy or motivation to get her there, especially now she's working full time. She either just wants to crash or see friends and family at the end of the day. How do I prioritise it? I do like it a lot and feel better afterwards. And I said to her, well, what I would do is schedule it into your diary as if it's a meeting with someone really important, because you are really important. So if you schedule an hour into your diary and you look at it as a meeting, even if it's just to sit and eat a bag of crisps and watch a telly. I mean, I would recommend not doing that. Go to the gym and do something active. But if you really need to, just have that wind down time and just sit.
I had a mad weekend of I did a pre-grading, and then I went to do a podcast recording in London, and so I had to leave the pre-grading early, and the previous night I'd been headlining in Cambridge and they shut the M25, so I had about 4 hours sleep.
Amazing.
And then the next night I had equally, I got up to go and meet friends in Basingstoke, so I scheduled it in. We have a big they have a big post-drinking, brunch type thing, and so I come along, not having drunk, having recorded a podcast, but go along, have a big meal there, and then that afternoon I was like, oh, what's wrong with me now? Because pre-grading is quite a stressful thing.
Yeah,
you have
definitely.
it's performing for, and I only did 2.5 hours of it, not the 3.5 hours that it actually lasts.
Yeah.
So I felt, oh, it's fine, and then, yeah, Sunday was a rest day, and then I sort of, at 7:30, I was like, I'm really tired. I'm just going to go to bed. 8 o'clock went to bed. I woke up 8:30 a.m. the next day.
I mean, that's some good sleeping.
Yeah, I was there. So I'm also checking my iron levels. However, but it is that thing of, it will catch up with you.
Definitely, and that's another thing I wanted to talk about is sleep. So I have one client, she sleeps 3 hours a night.
Oh no.
And she works so hard, bless her, and she's brilliant, she's strong, she does everything she's told, but more sleep would just be like the cherry on top. She would have so much more progress, she'd feel so much better. So I'm trying to because I'm kind of going more to being a wellness coach now. So I'm trying to help her with her sleep. So it's like the basic things, like making sure your room's dark, like there's no interruptions. If you have noisy neighbours, earplugs.
Routine.
Yeah, routine.
Have a noisy fella, earplugs.
Yeah. Don't use your phone like an hour before you go to bed. If you are going to use your phone, use a sleep hypnosis app. Granted, they're super weird. I use them sometimes. And I put the earphones in, and in my head, I spent the whole time going, well, I'm not relaxed. He's got a stupid voice. How am I supposed to relax when he's got a stupid voice? This is never going to work. And then I woke up.
Do you know what I used to do? There was a background noise thing that you could do. You could get jungle or rain or something terrifying. I used to get, there's one on YouTube which is just 12 hours of Star Trek ship noise.
Ah.
So it's literally just like you're inside the buzzing of inside the ship. So it's like...
Oh, that'd do my head in. I can't sleep if there's noise or light.
Okay.
I'm quite... Because fibro makes you really sensitive to it.
But... this is a fun stat. I recently, I heard it on a podcast, I think Joe Rogan's podcast, and he was interviewing a dietitian man, and apparently obesity, the leading cause of weight gain, you've got eating too much is number 1.
Obviously.
Not exercising enough is number 3.
Okay.
Not sleeping enough is number 2. Because when you don't sleep, you snack on things. It messes with your hormones.
Yeah, definitely. And you're not processing it as well. So just treat your sleep as... It's really important, because that's when your body recovers, regenerates itself, especially during REM sleep. So the time when you have your mental dreams, the longer you can spend in REM, the more that your body repairs.
That's so weird.
I know, it's so weird. It's all doing all this mental stuff. Basically, we are just a body that's being controlled by a symbiotic kind of relationship, because your body will do things without you telling it to.
This is true.
Like if it thinks you're in danger, just make you faint. Like, well, I wasn't prepared for this.
I don't know what to do.
Did not want this to happen.
It might wake you yourself as well, or vomit. If you hurt yourself, you ever cut yourself and you feel sick, there's a reason for that. It's because when we were chimps, well, not even when we were chimps, when we were like marsupial mammal-y type things, we got caught, we would vomit on ourselves to make us
less
palatable.
nice to eat.
Yeah. So that is literally what you're doing if you hurt yourself and feel sick.
But yeah, it's weird if you think about it, that we think, the brain thinks you're in control, but if you try and stop your heartbeat, can't do it. You're basically, your body is using you to get food and procreate. That's it. That's all it needs you for.
Yeah, it's and I also think you should take, there is a sort of, you have to sort of take the pressure off yourself you have to be realistic in terms of what you expect to happen, and then really positive about working towards those things. So set your goals in a realistic way. Yeah.
Don't set yourself something that you know you can't achieve.
Or something that you think, for example, if I career-wise was saying, I want to be on Live at the Apollo because I see my friends on Live at the Apollo and it has to be me. The thing is, Live at the Apollo, for me, wouldn't help me. I'd get a bit of money for it, be a massive stress, but I'd have no tour to promote after it for it to be worthwhile. Why do you want these things? And if it's just to keep up with the Joneses, it's a silly thing to want. Yeah,
if it's just for an Instagram picture, then don't do it. Like, weigh up the pros and cons of something you want to achieve. If it's actually going to be if it's going to be more work than it's worth, don't do it.
Yeah, and there's an expectation. So, for example, I think you're like me in that neither of us want kids.
No.
And there's this huge pressure on us at the moment to go, hey, you should be thinking about children. It's like I'm now the age my mother was when she had me, by accident.
On accident.
She keeps telling me that. My mum said I was a great mistake. But it is that sort of thing of going, well, let me think about this. I feel there's this huge societal pressure saying that we ought to, but really it's not
necessary.
It's not necessary, and also it's a hell of a commitment to. It's basically changing your entire purpose in life.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with, like, I can't have kids, so, I mean, I could, but it'd be a massive pain in the arse and a big faff. Wouldn't literally be a pain in the arse, that's a different type of thing.
It'd be you'd have to do IVF and stuff and things like that.
I don't think I'd be able to carry it that way. I'd have to have it implanted in there, I think. But anyway, it would be a massive faff. And the thing is, I'm too selfish for it, and I'm quite happy to admit that. Like, I'm not a selfish person, so I try and do a lot of charity work and just be a good human.
She buys raffle tickets and gets stalked.
Yeah, but I'm selfish in my time and the time of my other half. Like, I want all the time he has that he's not working or with his friends. I don't want to share that with a kid. That's the selfish thing. I don't want to have to split my holidays with a child. I don't want to not be able to do things because I have a child. And that's just the way I am. Some people, that's all they want, is to have that complete family, and I know that people say, oh, you don't know until you've got one, but if you actively don't want one, then there's nothing wrong with you. It's just a thing.
Yeah, and you just need to be certain. So if you do want kids, there's nothing wrong with that either.
No.
There's something great about that and something to be celebrated, and buy my boyfriend's books. Because he does kids' books. But yeah, no, it's one of these, you know, there's a lot of societal pressures saying what you ought to want and what you should want. For example, a new car, an extension.
The newest mobile phone.
You have to own your own house. You have to have the best job. I have a friend called David who, his wife's, quite high flying, and he works in the care industry, and they offered him a promotion, and he said no, because he likes working with the people he's caring for, and he didn't want to manage a team. He liked his job, and he's turned down, an extra third of his salary just to carry on doing what he does because he likes doing what he does.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And that's the sort of attitude I think that we all need, is that thing of going, I need to prioritise my happiness.
Exactly. Like, I find the whole, concept of society pressure very weird, because who is this that's putting the pressure on? It's just us. We're putting the pressure on other people who then put pressure on themselves, because there's not one person at the top that gets to dish this pressure out. He is not, the god of pressure.
It's not the Queen. The Queen is not going, why don't you have abs?
Yeah. So it's us putting pressure on us and other people who then take that as a pressure. If we were just happy in ourselves and didn't judge other people, then that pressure would stop, because we're the ones doing it. We are society.
Yeah.
It's just a very weird concept that we're all going about accidentally judging people or accidentally putting that pressure on someone that's then making that society pressure.
And I don't, I do think that, you see it in jiu-jitsu a lot, of people getting very frustrated. Certain techniques, certain throws, they just don't do them well yet. And it takes time to do them well.
Same with squats, deadlifts, that sort of thing. If you don't get it right first time, so. And it's the same as lifting weights. I always tell my clients to start at the heaviest, work your way down. Because if you start at the lightest, it's going to take you ages to get to the point that you could have just been at already. You will fail if you try and do the heaviest, because you just won't be there yet. Do the next one down. Always be prepared to fail to see what you can do.
And failure is where you find out who you are.
Yeah, exactly. And you find out what you can do.
I've had that little voice, because I spent last week, I did 11 hours of jitsu, so I was coming up to pre-grading.
Yeah.
This week I'll be doing 2 hours of jitsu and quite a lot of time in the gym, but I only did 1 hour in the gym last week. And so that little voice in my head was going, oh, I see, you're really unfit now, you can't do anything.
Yeah. You've had that 1 week off, you're well fat.
Exactly. So I did 2 classes. I did a kettlebell class and a quite gentle cardio thingy class, and that little voice in my head was there just going, okay, well, obviously this is terrible, but as that little voice just going, oh, you can't do this, just stop out, you don't have to do the next exercise, you just don't have to do it, just don't do it, just sit out. I mean, you can forgive yourself, it'll be fine, you've done all of this other stuff, it'll be absolutely fine. That voice in your head, switching, it was louder, but you can just switch it off and just go, no, I'm capable of this. I know when I'm not capable of something, and it's that thing of, don't let your own negativity get in the way of what you can achieve.
Yeah, you're your own biggest demon, and there's a really nice little exercise that I'd like you all to try, and this is something I use with my clients. So when I do yoga stretching at the end, when we go into, say, pig gym, I just make them spend a minute, and I make them stare at something in the distance, and then unfocus your eyes. Just stare at that one thing. Deep breaths. And it even works in a gym environment, so you can imagine there's clanging about, there's people, there's noise. And if you just stare at this one thing, breathe in, breathe out, everything unfocuses, everything else becomes a blur, the noises just become a hum, and then you can just collect your thoughts again. And once you've practiced the unfocused, sort of meditation really, but I've kind of been thinking about how to adapt it for modern life. So I've kind of cut it down to probably about 30 seconds to a minute. So I've been timing it. I've been doing quite a lot of research into this myself. And then once you've got good at that, doing it in not as busy spaces, then when you're at work, you can just, if someone's going on at you, or you just can't handle the pressure, just go straight into it. Spend that minute, and then when you come back, you're like, do you know what? I can do this. Because you've just calmed. And it is that breathing that tricks your brain into thinking and unfocusing, because it can't think about anything else but that one spot. And you're breathing, it just calms everything down. And then you could just, like, start again.
And you could just go, what was I getting stressed about? Because that needs done. Well, that can wait. And that
Exactly. It's the same as if you're like, I mean, I know this is a bit random, but if you've done your makeup and then you walk out the room and then you walk back and you're like, what the hell's going on with my eyebrows? Because you've been intently staring at yourself for so long that you've done your eyebrows and you're like, yeah, that looks fine. Go away, come back. Your brain's almost forgotten, and then you can see it again. So that's what we used to do as makeup artists. Turn around, walk off, come back, and then you can see any mistakes. So it's the same with, like, your life.
Do it with painting as well.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you're doing a drawing or a painting, get a mirror and look at it in the mirror. And then you'll just go, oh no!
Yeah. But just walk away and come back. So you can do that with your life. Just walk away and come back. Just sit there. You don't have to physically stand up, leave. Just learn to get that 60-minute little meditation. It doesn't have to be ages.
60 seconds, not 60
60
minutes.
seconds, God, yeah, that's an hour.
Yeah, an hour meditation. If you can do that, wow.
I can't even do 5 minutes, you know. Like, I sit there and I physically tell my brain to shut up, and then I have an argument with myself. I know. Because I have an argument with myself going, and I do it when I'm sleeping. I'm like, you should be sleeping now. Yeah, I'm trying to get to sleep. Will you shut up? Yeah, but if you went to sleep now, you'd have 6 hours sleep. No, I know that. Shush. And I do the same with meditating. It's like, you're thinking about things, stop thinking. I'm like, I'm trying to stop thinking, you shut up. So I can't meditate.
But you're meant
for
to,
60
you're
seconds
meant
I can
to,
manage.
I believe, with meditation.
Just let it flow, aren't you?
Yeah, well, you're meant to just recognise it, acknowledge it, and go, yeah, you're right. What's coming up next? Oh, look, a picture of a weasel. Why is there a picture? It's in a champagne glass. That's a sort of, you know, but it's not, it's about being present. And that's why I like that flow state, which people do get when they're at work, and people do get when they're in the gym, and people do get when they're doing jitsu, of that thing of going, all I am about now is this thing I'm doing.
Yeah, when you get in the zone,
Yeah.
and you're so focused, and you're so determined, and
you
nothing
can get
else
that
matters.
writing an essay,
Yeah.
you know. You can get it, like, listening. You could get it sometimes watching a good film, where you're just absorbed in the film.
And you can't hear anything that's going on around you.
Yeah. And it's this part of your brain, but you can do that yourself in meditation as well, for just being there. But it's really difficult, and don't give up after just one thing. Just going, nope, I've got these things to do.
But that's why I've kind of tried to pin it down to 60 seconds, and the unfocusing trick, because your brain can't really think about much else other than staring at that one thing, and your heart beating and your breath, and then you can just come back. And you just, it's almost the same as just taking a minute and talking to someone about it. So it's spending that little bit of time for yourself.
I also, I want to underline this thing of everything in our culture says, what have you achieved?
Yeah. What have you done for someone else today?
Yeah. What have you done for either yourself, your career, somebody else? What have you show me something you've done. Show me something. The only way you can get value is the work you do. The only way you can get value, if you're a woman, the way you look. You improve the way you look. Have you been, you know, are you prettier than you? We're not going to get much prettier.
Have you contoured your face? Have you got cheekbones?
Exactly.
Is your chin fat?
Is you know, have you shaped your eyebrows amazingly?
Have you shaved?
Yes. Oh God, no. I need to do that before jiu-jitsu, otherwise I scare the little boys.
I know, the little boys are terrified of body hair on women.
Well, they don't see any. You know, this is what they, you know, they're barely allowed on themselves. Bless them.
That's true. That is a very weird thing, because I did read in the news not that long ago that porn is putting unrealistic expectations on teenagers, and especially when they then couple up and they're like, they have perfectly good sex, and then they're like, well, it wasn't like it was on the telly, so we did that wrong.
Yeah.
And that's another way of kind of putting pressure on yourself. And like I said before about Instagram models, they've taken their best angle. They might be taking some sort of drugs. They might not be, but you can bet that they're prepping their meals and only living on 5 set meals every single day. The same thing. And that's all they do. And
equally, you have people doing it the other way who sort of say, who I think take it to the extreme of
body positivity.
Yeah. And I think there's nothing wrong with positivity, but you've got to. I think you should look after yourself.
Yeah, because you get the people who go, I love my curves, I never go into the gym, and you're like, well, you can love your curves but still be fit.
Yeah.
Like, it's fitness, not looks.
Yeah, and it's also how happy you are in yourself. And
Yeah.
if I'm not, even if not going for a walk every day, I will slowly turn into a pumpkin. And
I
just
get like
cry.
a proper recluse.
Yeah.
Because I then turn into the point where I sit in the front room and go, I haven't spoken to anyone for 3 days. This is fine. I don't need to speak to people. And I just go a bit mental.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think
I do like The Shining.
Yeah. And there is a sort of thing of going, you know, it's like I said in that early episode, you've got to be your own parent. You've got to go,
I like
yes, we've got to have, you know, we've got to have our time and love, but we've also got jobs and things we have to manage and things we have to work on in order that we can enjoy the happy times.
And I think one of the things that has definitely worked for me as I've gotten older is realising that I don't have to like everyone. Not everyone's going to like me.
Oh, God, no.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I pick my friends very carefully now. And they are people that I support, they support me. I can tell them things like, you the other day, I was like, don't work out as much. And you were like, cool.
Yeah.
And it's just that thing where you can just go, I have your best interest at heart. And you know that. You don't have to just be friends with everyone or the cool kids. And it's fine if people don't like you. You don't have to change for them to like you. Just accept they don't like you. There's some people I don't like. I'm like, you're just not my type of person.
Yeah.
You keep doing what you're doing. I'll keep doing what I'm doing. And then people... I don't have tons of friends. I have like a few close friends.
Yeah.
I don't feel a need to have a massive social group.
No.
It's not necessary.
It isn't. And you can get, you know, you have acquaintances who are friends. Like people you work with, people that you do jitsu with who you're not very close with, and people you do jitsu with who you are very close with. Hi, guys. Hi, both of you. But no, I think that positivity comes with, you've got to look around. I mean, I hardly ever look back and see where I came from.
That's a good
And when I do that, I'm just like, oh, holy shit, I achieved a lot.
Yeah, I kind of like to look back. And even though I've had a lot of tough things happen, and I do have a little whinge at the minute about my health, but I've come so far from where I was. And I try and be thankful for something at least every day. So even though my health is buggered, if I'd have been in Victorian times, I'd just be dead. So there's that. That is a win.
There you go. Yeah. One win.
Yeah. So it is honestly celebrating the little things. And once you start kind of spending a little bit more time on yourself, you notice things a lot more. So even if you go to the garden centre, I got really excited on Sunday because there was a plant where the flowers were shaped like tiny parachutes and they smell of lime.
Ooh.
Very exciting.
Did you buy it?
No, because it was £20.
But...
So I am probably going to buy it at some point.
Yeah. But, you know...
It was very exciting.
I think there's a thing which actually came up in one of the British Museum podcasts I did, because I think people lack... you know, you might be religious, you might have your own sort of little cult like jitsu, you might have... all of
pole
these
dancing,
things.
hi guys.
Exactly. But it is that, you know, there is something I think that's very important that you do with the group.
Yeah. And there is almost a sense of belonging as well.
Yeah.
I understand that.
I think this is important, and there's a biological reason for this. I mean, have you heard of a thing called Dunbar's number?
Yes.
So for those of you who don't know what Dunbar's number is basically this man called Dunbar got a load of primate skulls. So he got loads of like gibbons and chimpanzees and gorillas and humans, and he filled their brain cavities with sand, and then he measured the volume of their brain cavity, aka the size of their brains, and found out that the size of the brain directly correlates with how many members in their social group that they have. So like gibbons and macaques have about 20 to 40, and then chimps have 40 to 80, and gorillas have a few more, and it's all to do with the size of the brain. And as a result, he worked out there's a beautiful, it's perfect on a line. The human brain can have 145 to 150 friends max.
Okay.
That's all you can cope with
I don't
in
know,
terms
like
of...
more than 10 people.
Well, there we go. But you do. There'll be acquaintances, but that's how many names and faces and understanding any relationship really that you can cope with. And that will include people like, you know, celebrities you've never met. It will include the postman who comes round that you know is called Dave.
Yeah.
You know that. But that's the most you can actually, you know, cope with. And it was really nice because, you know, average number of friends on Facebook, 160.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's things like that. But what that says, though, if you're worried that you're not getting the most out of life, etc., 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 the reason you have this very expensive in terms of calories, in terms of keeping it alive, massive brain.
Yeah.
The reason that you've got that is because you need to interact with 145 to 150 people.
Yeah.
And that is why we develop language, because you cannot groom 145 to 150 people. Physically, it would take hours. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
But that's how macaques do it. They just groom each other. That's how they bond. They're bonding. They're in a unit.
I mean, I would feel weird if someone jumped me and started like rubbing through my hair.
Oh, exactly. But you know, sometimes you pay people to do that. Obviously.
This is true.
Yes.
No.
But the point is that is why language came about. So you know, right now with us in your ears, we are actually grooming you. Right now, we're
weird. Oh, not grooming you in like a sexual like predator way.
No, grooming you as in like a monkey. I'm trying to be your friend type.
Not in a sexual predator way.
And if you actually look at every single human invention, and the reason that we've got these amazing thoughts about science, the universe, and everything, it is just this group bonding. So, for example, fire came up. We got evidence of fire from 800,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Of humans using fire. Only about 20,000 years ago did we use it to cook anything.
No. Well, we didn't before. Just setting other people on fire.
No, we were literally it got dark, we lit a fire, and that meant we could see each other's faces instead late at night chatting.
And it was warm.
Yeah. So it was literally, you know, bit of warmth, but also the light so we could see each other and chat.
That's cool.
And, you know, if you
Do you think that's what's missing from why people are so anxious now is because they live a primarily social media life, so their interactions would be faceless?
Exactly. Our interactions are not only are faceless, but also our interactions are slightly false, because, like, I don't put the pictures of me looking... I mean...
With that tuft of hair you've got going on right now?
I know, it's really sexy. That's deliberate. That's, like, ironic. But, yeah, I don't put up, you know, bad stories of me. Hey, guys, I just died on my arse at this gig. You know, I tend not to do that. And... It's also
it's
the
a false
physical...
reflection, isn't it?
There's the physical... contact thing, and there is that we need this is why we have this brain, and to nurture this brain you need other people, and you need that connection, and you can find that connection pretty much in any sport, in any group of friends, with your family, whatever, but don't isolate yourself. The more you isolate yourself and just go, I'm on media, it's fine, the sadder you will become, the more anxious you will become.
That makes sense. And especially because of that social media, like giving a false idea of yourself, I think obviously if you're in groups that's giving you your chance to learn, because we learn off other people. It's like when you're a child and you're learning to walk, it's like monkey see monkey do, literally. So if you're in a group of people, you might learn something from those people, and you will always have something to give to a group that they may not necessarily have, because I think you would tend to try and seek out people, either if it's in a sport or people who are similar to you, so that you can learn from them. And if you're not in that group, you're not learning. So if you ever stop learning, for me, I think that's when you get unhappy.
Yeah.
Because you're not expanding yourself, and you just get fidgety and restless, and that's why you start thinking more about yourself and internally, because you've got nothing else to focus your brain on. You have a big brain, it's got loads of power, does loads of things. If you take up those things it's meant to do away, what else is it going to do? It's going to then start basically eating itself. So it's reflecting back on itself, going, well, let's just look at you then, shall we, and pick you to pieces.
Exactly, and I'm not saying that you have to join a cult, but people in cults are very happy.
Yeah, and Manson's dead now.
Exactly, so it'd be fine. Please, we're joking.
Yeah.
But no, honestly,
I mean, the Women's Fitness Podcast is almost a bit of a cult.
Yeah,
like technically speaking, it's kind of like. It is that interaction, even though it's on social media, it's a very honest group. So people aren't they're putting across their wins, But that's more in a celebratory fashion rather than, look at me, this is me,
I'm
I do this
better than
every day.
everybody.
Yeah.
I'm better than everyone.
Yeah, so it's finding either a group that you can belong to in that way, or expanding your learning, just doing something that gives that big old brain something else to think about other than you and your faults.
Yeah, because that is what it will do.
Yeah.
It will just go...
Pick itself apart.
You know, it's amazing. If you do jitsu for a week, you don't ever just go, oh, I'm getting a bit fat. You just go, oh, I can't do a Sotogari well enough. And that's like the first throw we learn.
You have to keep, as well, you have to keep practicing things. So, you know, like, you remember when you were at school and you went on your 6 weeks holidays and you came back and you couldn't write?
Yeah.
And you're like, I've forgotten how to hold a pen.
Yeah.
And it was only 6 weeks. So you've got to reinforce these things as well, like, constantly.
Yeah. And I think that affirmation thing, you know, we forget easily, so that it is that thing. I personally think that the more you know, pare down your belongings, you pare down, you know, your friends in a way, so that you are just surrounded by the things that you love, the people that you love, and also you pare down your schedule. So you're going, hey, you know what? Maybe I don't want to go for that promotion after all.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm happy where I am, like my friend David, and just being, okay, this is where I am. How can I make this even better? And it's not about going, okay, I need to get this so I can get the car, so I can, you know, drive to the place so that I can buy the house, you know. And there's this huge sort of like entrepreneurial dragon's den
a dream.
Yeah. You've sold a dream, and you're going, well, actually, I'd probably be happier, you know, if my kids did share a bedroom.
Yeah.
And actually they might be happier with that in the long term anyway. And maybe, you know, I don't need that car. Maybe we should go on holiday together instead and have that memory. You know, there's things that, and obviously, you know, you might think, no, because the going on holiday with my family is hell and I really need a car. Then get the car. But the point is, you know, the more isolated and the more miserable you make yourself because of outside pressures and because you're not assessing where you are in terms of happiness.
It's if you lust over something, you obsess over it, and that's unhealthy. And I think that...
Or someone, yeah,
definitely. And there's no... Like, don't feel bad if you need to let go of a toxic person in your life, like a toxic friend. They're not your friend if they're continually just burdening you with problems. You'll know the difference between someone who cares about you, you care about them, and they're going through a rough patch. You're helping them through it. But if they drag you down constantly, don't feel bad letting that person go.
Yeah.
Because your happiness is worth more, and then them dragging you down is affecting all your other relationships, so your relationships at home. And is it worth it for that one person? Because they're doing it on purpose. It's an emotional vampire thing. They're just burdening you with everything.
Yeah.
Just to get it out.
I've had a few friends like that.
Everyone's had friends like that. You just have to let them go.
You do.
And let them go on their own path, and then maybe come back to you when they're a fuller person. And when you're 80, you might not have been friends with that person anyway, so you're like, well, I've wasted like 20 years like trying to clean up after that person, and you might not be friends with them when you're 80. So it's all about thinking. I like to think, when I'm 80, will I look back on my life and think, yeah, I did the things, I ate the food, I had the nice times, I gave back. So giving is another really good way to feel positive and happy, because we're, as you said, like being part of that group does include people you've not met before, obviously homeless people. We are kind of here to help other people, and that supporting and helping other people and giving back will fulfill you as a person.
It makes you so happy.
Yeah,
There's
a reason
studies,
for that.
You know, if you give a guy selling Big Issue £5 and say keep the change, you are going to feel happier than the guy with the £5.
Yeah,
you're buying your own happiness.
Yeah, it's like you've made that change for someone else, and if everyone kept doing that, then that's going to come back to you because someone will do that nice thing for you.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think we can, particularly when we don't see the progress we want, and we've made a mistake, like we've overtrained. Shut up. But we've made a mistake where we think that this was a bad, you know, like people who are on week 2 of your diet.
Yeah.
You know, you might have had a massive pizza and just gone, oh, that's
I feel
all my,
that, but then
all my
don't
progress is
relate to
gone.
being rubbish about yourself. You're like, you've ingested more calories.
Yeah.
Don't then put yourself down for it.
And don't realise that okay, I feel bad because I did this. Well, use that lesson and go, I won't do that tomorrow then.
If something's in the past, like, I think, like, my relationship, not bragging or anything, is a successful relationship.
He's quite a pretty boy.
He is a pretty boy.
He's a pretty boy.
So we've been together
mine
for like...
but he's amazing.
Yeah. We've been
Mine's
together
the
for
best.
over 2 years and we've not had one argument. Not that I'm saying arguments are bad, but the way we deal with things is if he's upset me, I'm allowed to say how I'm feeling at that time. It's a valid feeling because I feel it, even if someone doesn't understand why you're feeling angry or doesn't understand why you're feeling sad. If you feel that way, you feel that way. It's a valid emotion. So I'll explain why I'm feeling like that, what we can do to stop that happening, and then I never bring it up again. Because something that's in the past is done, and it's the same with everything. If you've taken a test last week, don't worry about it, it's done. You can't go back in time, sort it out.
Wait, you can though if you think about it hard enough.
Spin round really fast in a circle.
Yeah.
So just let it go. If you have to take the test again, just take the test again.
Yeah.
Don't worry yourself about something that's happened in the past because you can't change it.
And you
can learn from it, but look towards the future.
And nothing is perfect. Even the Taj Mahal has mistakes built into it. And because anything without error is ugly.
I mean, that's a really nice thought of the day to end on, actually.
Indeed. So, feel positive. You are amazing. You are alive at a time where there's huge change. There is no pressure on you to be anything other than something you want to be.
Yep.
And every day can be a tiny little step towards that.
And every day you have survived is a perfect day.
Boop, boop. Thanks for listening, but before you go, please spread the word about the podcast. Write us a review on iTunes, and we want your feedback. Go to womensfitnesspodcast.com or email womensfitnesspodcast@gmail.com. You can support us financially on Patreon, and also you can follow us. You can find Kelly Bakewell PT on Facebook and Instagram as @KellyBakewellPT, and you can find Izzi, that's me, on Instagram and Twitter as @Izzi_Lawrence. That is ISZI_LAWRENCE. Music by Boothby Graffo, available on bandcamp.com. We'll see you next week. High five on the internet.